I'm going to show you how to do this sort of thing here. Really, just have a play around really with, it's really understanding the tools which I've explained, but now go into more cool effects. But remember, what we're trying to do here is we'll be looking at, I want to make our books look different and also professional and outstanding as well. So we want to have something which looks different and attractive and looks great to look at, draws the eye. So this sort of thing, especially if you combine this with colors or textured backgrounds to your text, or even images within your letters, which I'll show you later on how to do. You can have a great looking cover, especially when it's combined with wonderful shaded effects and backgrounds and blended images and all that sort of thing. When you put all this together, then you can come up with some really eye-catching covers. Okay, so let's get to it. So I've created this, so I'm going to show you how I actually went about doing it. So I'm just going to go and undo the changes up to where I was before I did this. Actually, I think we'll take it from there. So at this point, what I've done is I've got the text and I've made it a bit bigger, this one. I've also added the word house on here, and actually I want to delete. I see. Right, so we need to go back a bit further on this one actually. So if I go back to where we were, hopefully that will. Okay, it won't let me go back further than that. So I might want to just delete that layer altogether. So I'll do that now. So right, let's start with this one. Now, how did I create the swirly? It's actually quite simple to do. So this is an image. Remember, we've rasterized the text, made it an image. So all I did to do that was I go to filter, and you might want to experiment with these filters, depending on what you're working on, whether it's a picture, an image, or whether it's text or whatever. You'll find there's different effects. So experiment with these. You'll also find some things that you can do here as well. So I encourage you to have a look through these and see what effects they do, and look at combining effects as well. You can come up with some really good things. That's how I discover things, by just trial and error and learning, of course, what other people know. So I'll always be adding new stuff on this all the time. Okay, guess it's this one here called Water Swirl. If I click on that, it's already sort of has preset settings. I find it comes up with these, but you can change these. And at the bottom here, there's something called horizontal. So what I actually did was I clicked horizontal, so it made it across the top. I changed this I found actually it was size 20, but you can slide up and down here where you type the amount here. So there's amount and size. So the amount is the amount of squiggles there is. The size is the amount, the size of the actual curves. So if I went in there and I just typed in 20, okay, that's quite strong. But when we change the size, hopefully this will work. There we are. As it gets bigger, so as it goes smaller, it's quite. So depending on what you can do, you can have that. That's quite a good effect, isn't it? So if we go up here, it makes it less tight. So the higher you go. So there we are. And I just click OK on that. And then what I did is I selected the rubber tool. Actually, I've already got it selected here, as you can see. It's probably a little bit big actually to use, but if I carefully move it over where I want to, and then just one click of the left mouse key, just make sure the opacity is on 100. I made sure as well, because it was on one of these, I just moved in and selected that, make it harder. Otherwise, so if you use one of these, it'll sort of, it's like in a lower opacity, sort of more transparent, so it won't take it off in one go. So I don't want to be messing around. So just one click on that, make sure I'm not catching the letters. And there we are. And this is quite easy to grab, and that one is. There's a little bit there, so I'll probably zoom in a little bit to that one so we can get a bit closer. So remember, we can move around by clicking there or the sliders. It's easy to see where we are there, so we can just move that up. I think I'm close enough to get that in there. Might want to reduce the size of my rubber, but I'll try and work with this there. I think yep, not cut any letters, so just zoom back out there using the wheel of my mouse. And there it is. Okay, so it's quite straightforward to do. Okay, now we're going to do the other one. So I'm going to take you straight through the steps here. So what I did was I typed in house in capitals, so it's already it's got white so you can't see it, so I chose this color here. Okay, on that I center it and select bold. It's already on the largest it can be as the text. I went to layer, rasterize layer to turn it into an image so we can work with it. I then went to free transform. I grabbed that, I didn't bother holding the shift key down. I just dragged that out to be a bit longer so get a nice effect. So about that size will be fine, or maybe a little bit lower, I suppose, like that. Okay, so I don't want it too long, I want it to fit on the cover, because if you have it outside here, if we save the changes there, it would cut off that part of the letter. So before we save it, make sure that's all within the cover. Click outside, yes, accept changes. Now, there's not actually a tool here like the wavy one, which is easy to make waves. It's a shame there's not a one, because we know how to make it large to small. We use the transform tool, but if you try to use the distort tool, if you try to use the distort tool though, it's a shame it hasn't got these adjustment blue things here in the middle, because then we could make it like that a lot easier. It's only got them, so you can only actually make these, move those around like we showed in the other one, so I'm not going to bother with that. The way I did it was a little bit of ingenuity. What I discovered is if you cut and then you paste anything in, it pastes it as a new layer. You can actually then move it back into there by layer merging down if you want to afterwards, that's fine. It makes it easy to move things around the screen. But this is how I did this one. So I just used this one here to selection. I first selected the 3 letters in the middle, so the O, U and S. So just make sure that's selected. Probably a little bit too close, so we'll try it a little bit higher up. There we are. Just make sure that's selected. Okay, and then I went here. I simply went cut. Now the H and the E appears on this layer. I go paste, and that will paste it as a new layer. Now it's a bit tedious, it's not quite lined up. So what I did there was I want it to be lined up as much as I can. Remember, you can use your mouse and you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard for fine adjustments. So try to get as much as I can there. Move it up with my upward arrow key, just a couple of, that looks about right I think. And then what I do is I'm on the O, U and S layer, because that's only these 3 letters on this layer, not the H and the E. So once again I went here, and this time I cut out the U, so just click there, so covering that one, and go edit, cut, edit, paste, use the move, just try to get that as much as you can in the middle and lined up with the other letters as best you can. I mean, if you really wanted to get this perfect, then you could just zoom right in, and you would know exactly, get it lined up perfectly, but I don't want to mess too much time here. I want to show you how to do this. So we go back to the O and S. So remember, on this layer is the O and S. Free transform. Now for this I want to keep the letters in proportion, so I press the shift key down, hold that down on the keyboard, and then I just drag that slur just to make it a little bit smaller to the size I want. So say about there. It's a little bit bigger. That's about right I think. Click outside, save the changes. Go to this layer where it's only the U. Free transform. Hold down the shift key and drag that and make that smaller, like so. You could just decide on that. Click outside, save the changes, and there you have it. And if you wanted to move these in a little bit, you could do that by going to where the H and the E is. You could click and just select the H first of all, go to the move tool, and that will allow you to move that independently. So you can have it say there. I'm not going to fuss on too much about getting the position exactly right. I'm going to do the same with the E, and making sure I select the move in there. So I'm not going to be too fussy about getting this dead right, because I just want to show you how it's done. And there you have it. So that's how you do those cool effects.